Greetings. Good morning on Sunday, this Sunday, June the 4th. It's a bit overcast here in Pueblo West, but it is a glorious day because it is a brand new day and a new opportunity for us to engage with God and life and creation and church. And so I'm Pastor Carrie West. I am serving the fine congregation of Sunrise Church in the community of Pueblo West. For those who watch pretty regularly, I think you're part of the church, but I always want to introduce myself in case, somebody new happens upon our morning brief. So this is a time I just take a few minutes on Sunday morning to highlight something that's going to happen in worship, or talk a little bit more about the scriptures that we're going to hear, the message that I'm going to give. And this morning, I actually want to just talk about what today is in the life of the church in terms like church in general and the church year, because we're not really observing this today. Today is called Trinity Sunday in the lectionary. It's meant to be a day in which we honor our understanding of God in three, like as in Father, Son, Holy Spirit, or, Creator, Son, Holy Spirit, however you like to name God. So Trinity Sunday, it picks out scriptures that kind of highlight how God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit are very much at work in the biblical narrative. The idea of triune God, the idea of the Trinity, is not in the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible will you see the word Trinity or triune. This is a doctrine of the early church. And it came about really as folks were really wrestling in the early centuries of just who God is and how God was at work. I mean, God had always for so long been this very out of touch, holy divine presence that lived in the temple, and only, a few people had any kind of interaction with that holy presence. And then Jesus came along and was called the Son of God, and, was doing these pretty amazing things. And folks came to understand that Jesus was the face of God, like God in the flesh. And then, of course, we have the Pentecost story when the Holy Spirit was given and became that presence of God, Jesus, among God's people and the followers. And so as in the early centuries, as the church is forming, they're trying to figure out how to talk about God, because God is so incomprehensible to us as humans. Like, we just don't have words to express. And so in order to kind of be able to teach people and to help people understand and to create a language in which pretty much everyone could agree, this idea of the Trinity, the triune God, God in three, became doctrine of the church. And it's followed us all through history, because it's about the best we can do when we're talking about God and how God is at work in our world. We can kind of change up the way we name God in the triune conversation, if you will. Some folks like to imagine and or connect with God on more of God's feminine side, and so we'll call God Mother. I think there are cases in which that's how I experience God and have no problem saying that, or Creator, or just God. And then, of course, Jesus, we know, was human and was a male, identified as male, was male. And so to call him son is most correct. And then Holy Spirit, I mean, there's no really very little we can change out, other than maybe advocate, companion, but Holy Spirit, right? So there are just different ways that we today can even express this idea of how God is at work. But it is also very elusive, and it certainly is not something we have to understand in order to have faith. I think because sometimes doctrine gets in the way of what we how we experience God and how we live out faith. The triune God, the idea of Trinity is helpful, but yet is not. It's not always essential in our faith journey. We're not really, I don't even know that I'm mentioning that it's Trinity Sunday in church this morning, because we are continuing in our series about transitions and change and how our faith guides us. What are some guiding principles, some things we can lean into in times of transition. Today we'll be talking about community and what it means to be, or why we want to prioritize being community together in times of transition and change. So that's today, your early morning brief. Looking forward to this morning's worship. George has our music director. This is his last Sunday. He has quite an amazing lineup of music for us. It'll just be wonderful to share in this time together this morning in worship. We do worship at 10 a.m. in person. We do also live stream. We are having communion today, and so that's always a very powerful and meaningful experience. And I would invite you to consider being in person for worship if you see this video before our 10 a.m. Sunday morning time. You can find our live stream anytime during the week at our website, sunrisepueblo.org. And so I hope to see you at church, and may the rest of your day be the very best of your day.